I do have one last demonstration I'd like to do, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kill this file, and I'm going to open a file that I've been working on, and some of you in chat room may have seen me wearing this avatar. Now, I was really happy with this, but the text became a real problem. So I'm just going to walk you through a couple of the problems I had with it and how I eventually solved it. And it actually will become very apparent why I did the other video tip before this one. So, really, I don't want my colors to clash from what I'm doing there. I want it all to seem natural. Obviously, the powder blue is not going well with the sea green destructiveness of the avatar I created there. So what I'm actually going to do is just go for a plain font here for the moment. And here we have the way I was going to do it. Now, the first thing that I did here on this is when I put it together, I went to one of my go-to fonts, which is one called Music Hall. And if you have this font, you know why it's one of my go-to fonts. It's just a freaking spectacular font that makes an immediate visual impact. And I went to it and I went, okay, great. Let's put this text down here. And the first thing I did was look for an area of contrast, so I tried to put it up here. And what I discovered on this one was that when I put text up there, I could have done something about the fact that the U and the S are in a non-contrast area. I could have used the ghetto or the ghetto glow there. Would have been a good choice. But when I was looking at it, I said to myself, this area of negative space is really important for conveying the destruction behind the character that I was working on. So I didn't want to put anything in there. So the next thing that I did was try putting it right here or right here, and it just doesn't work. The intricate nature of the font is just too much in terms of the background. So I reluctantly went ahead and just went and found a simpler font, and we started testing it there. So let me just find something close to the one that ended up on the avatar. And this one's not bad here. Okay, so then I decided to change my font, and I said to myself, okay, does this work? So I went with a simpler one, and I put it back up here. Same problem. I don't want to cover that area up. I especially don't want to put any secondary text on it. Let me take a second out for secondary text. Dude, if I can't read it, don't put it on your avatar. That's the only thing I'm going to say about secondary text. If it's not immediately readable, just get it the crap off your av. There's just no reason for it to be there. So then I tried it down here, and that didn't quite work. And here, and again, it's not popping. It doesn't do what I want. And even this font was a little, it wasn't conveying the simplicity. So Microsoft Sans Serif, really? Could that really be the answer to the problem here? It might very well be, but I did take another step with it. I spaced it out a little differently by adding a space between every character. And I liked that. So we brought this down, and what I eventually decided to do was, instead of putting the text anywhere on the picture, because I have the freedom in the way that I'm working, I put that text down here. And in fact, what I even did there was I took the stroke off it. Once I had it down here, I decided, well, maybe a little too light. Let's go ahead and just change it to the same as that background layer, which is good, but we're losing it in the background here. And so all I did was go back to the tried and true formula of a quick drop shadow. So duplicate, adjust brightness and contrast. We'll make that black. Then we will Gaussian blur that. Place that behind the text. We can barely see that effect now, but if we duplicate it and duplicate it again, that text is now standing out. And what I even did a little further, just fade the opacity of this one a touch, just to give it that worldly appeal. And there you have it. What I did there was use one of the standard 8 fonts and really do so much more with that because of its simple nature than I could have done adding any kind of effects in Photoshop or any kind of program. So there you have it. Those are my tips on text. Make sure that you're not overdoing it. You can use simple fonts as long as you're placing them right and they look attractive. There's no reason to use all the scripted fonts in the world, and just make sure you got some contrast between your background and your font.